Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Today's video is going to be a build of what I think is a 1998 Marin XC-FRS frame set. This is one that I got on eBay a few weeks ago for I think a quite good price, $49.99 plus shipping. Let's have a look at it so far. So there is a bit of a story with this, which I'll go into as we go along, but this colourway I believe is from 1998-99. Because I've seen it on the Mount Vision, which is it's exactly the same decal style, colours, etc. So I'm guessing that this is from around about the same time. It came with a seat post that you can just about see there in the clamp, and the shock, and that's all it came with. Now I have already built this bike once and then stripped it back down, and the reason for that being is I bought a set of wheels from eBay. Now I'll show you the one that I've got. So this is a set of orange FIR wheels. I'd not realised when I bought it, and it's not the fault of the seller, but if you look at the hub there, it's actually a 7-speed hub. And as I was putting the cassette on, I thought, well, it's not going to go on, it's not going on properly, it's not big enough. It's because it's a 7-speed hub. I did look at changing it out for a 10-speed, but to be honest with you, I think what I read into it was the dishing's got to be adjusted and everything else, and I just thought, you know what, let's just get another set of wheels, which I've ordered, and once I get those, I think I'll put these ones back on eBay. I might keep them, but I can't see myself ever doing a 7-speed bike or a single speed. So anyway, that's that story. So I stripped the bike back down again. I had some issues with filming as well, tried some different techniques, but to be honest, it looks shit. So anyway, I've started again. So rather than take everything else off it, I've left this on. Now this is the AirBike crankset that I got for the Zascar, and I decided not to use it, and the external bottom bracket as well. So I've put them on this bike. It fits brilliantly, nice and smooth, no problems. Some of the other stuff I bought is the Nukeproof Electron pedals. These were, again, from eBay, $19.99, supposed to be $37. I would never pay $37 for them. I don't think they're worth it quality-wise, but for $19.99, spot on. So nice and yellow to match the swing arm on there. I've also bought and installed the FSA headset. Again, got this one on eBay. This is sort of nice and smooth as well. Yeah, quite easy to fit in fact. Alongside this, I'll just put a bit of video of me installing it. I've got a headset press tool, which is pretty straightforward to use. I've seen some people do it with bolts and washers, etc., etc. It might be something I try, because the headset, but the bearing press that I bought, it's a triple B one. It's quite heavy and it is quite unwieldy, really. Once you're just sort of trying to get the cups in and the bottom bit falls off and it all drops on the floor, etc., etc. So I think I might try the bolt and washer set up at some point and just see if that works. So that's that. The shock is a Reese Racing shock. I've never used it before. They get mixed reviews. Yeah, I think they were good quality in the day. This one, when I did have it set up with the original wheels on before I took them back off, it does work okay. It's pretty smooth, so hopefully we will be keeping that one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a fork on. Now the forks I got from, again, eBay, which is a theme. These are Rockshox TK30, 100mm travel, brand new. Got them from Hopkinson's Cycles that are based in Wakefield in the UK. It's got a lockout and some rebound adjuster, preload adjustment on there. 30mm stanchions. They're kind of bottom of the range, I think, but they will do for what I need them for. I'm going to use V-brakes on this set. I'm a fan of the V-brakes at the moment. I quite like the sort of simplicity of them. So let's get the forks in, get the stem on, and then see where we go from there. All right, let's get this in. I've already put some grease on this, on the steerer. Like I say, it's already technically been on there before, so let's get that in. Okay, got some carbon spacers. going to try this slightly differently. The last setup I did two. I put this one on as well, but I have got some bigger riser bars now, which are Hussefelt as well, same as the stem. So what I'll do is I'm just going to get this on. I'm just going to put a smaller spacer in there. It's all trial and error. Fortunately, it's quite a quick workaround if I change my mind. Right. I've not cut these forks, by the way, the steerer. Just left it. I've got a cutter, but I thought I'll just see if I can get away with not cutting it. If I ever do come to sell it, it's a better option for someone than I've not cut it too short. So I'm satisfied with it. Okay, let's get the bars. So these are the Hussefelt bars, 40mm rise. So they are, let's get the other ones to compare. So these are the ones actually from the Marley. So I think they're 25, maybe 30, but just want something a little bit more. So I'm just going to put these on. Now I always put a bit of fibre grip on bars, just because obviously you don't have to do them overly tight then, and the paste grips so they don't slip about. I do believe you're supposed to wear gloves when you're doing this, but hey ho, let's live dangerously. So nice and steady, so as not to cross thread. That's it. Spin it out so you can see there. When you use the fibre, you can actually hear it as it starts to tighten up. You can hear the beads inside just start to crunch, so you know you're getting close. So this is just nipping it up, and then just go around each one. Go the opposites if you can. So I'm going to check the torque on these before it goes out on the road. Just notice that's a little bit off centre. And if you're OCD like me, it has to be exact. So these are bars from the front, so you can see the rise on there. So I don't know yet, I'm going to have to sit on it with the wheels and just get the sort of feel of the height, but I might swap these spaces around so it might come up a little bit more, but it's a quick fix, is that. So these are the forks, as you can see. Quite nice. There was an option to get a remote lock for this, but I never really used the lockout on forks. I don't know why, but so I thought there's no point having an extra cable on the front. So I went for a slightly cheaper version. But anyway, yeah, let's get the controls on. So this shifter, this is a a Dior 10-speed, and it's the same model. I think it's M6000. I'll put all the parts in the description for the video, but this is the same as I've got on the Corner Blast, which is one of the smoothest shifting bikes that I've got actually. It's really good quality. So I'm just going to put these on loose. Let's just try that. Just going to nip it up and before I get everything on. Just leave it on there for now. I'm going to put the brake levers on. So these are the Avid brake levers. Again, same as the ones on the Corner Blast, just because I know they work. They are adjustable with those Allen screws there. Although I just tend to have them on standard setting, so let's put these on. Again, just nice and loose. What I'm going to do is put these on, then put the grips on, and then I've got the spacing right there. That's it. Right, time for the grips. So these grips, again like the Marley and the Corner, because they're comfortable for me. So I've gone for these Ergon GA2s in yellow, just to match the sort of theme of the bike. So I'll stick those on, and then once they're on, I'll sort the controls. So these Ergons use a 3mm Allen key, and they have got and I'll show you this when I've done it, but there is a position marked up that says top, so you know that you've got them right around. Because sometimes you put grips on and you think, well, which way do they go? Because the actual patterning sometimes don't really make a lot of sense. The torque on these grips is about 3 Newton meters, so you don't have to have them too tight. And obviously you don't want to strip the thread, so I just tend to sort of nip them up, and then once I've got everything on the bike, I then start adjusting. So the brake levers, I'm just going to do them nearly horizontal. Again, not overly, don't need to be overly tight. So obviously the advantage then is if you don't want them slipping around while you're trying to brake. But if you do come off the bike, they do spin around, and it doesn't really damage the doesn't really damage anything. I think that's just about right. I will measure these once they're on, so this is just to kind of get them in place, and then finally. And again, just nipping it up. So this is where we're at the moment. So you can see the markings on the top there for these grips. So you know you've got them the right way around, and they are marked left and right in the packaging. So the brake levers are on, the shifter's on, and just over to the other side. So it's looking okay so far. Looking pretty good. What I might do in the meantime is put these dodgy wheels on, not dodgy, just wrong size for me. I might put the wheels on it, get it on the ground, and then just see what the bar height's like, and at least I can set that, and then when the proper wheels come that I'm going to use on it, I'm pretty well set up then. So the bars are on. Let's make a minor adjustment, because actually they were just rolled forward a little bit position wise, so just sort of lift them back up. Just to make a slight adjustment, so that's why I'm retightening these controls. Okay, that's okay. So what I'll do is just clean off the excess paste from these bars. sort of see roughly what it's going to look like. Let's say these wheels are going to be changed because they're the wrong type for what I want. But yeah, it looks okay. Once this is all down and it's all, you know, the wheels are on it, etc., I'm going to just go through all my final checks, make sure everything's torqued up as it should, and then I'll make sure that these levers are all aligned, etc. I'll measure them from floor to bar, just make sure they're right. But visually, for the moment, it's as good as it needs to be. Right, let's get the wheels back off it. I might put the brakes on. These are the brakes I'm going to be using. Straightforward V brakes. These are Alivio 4000s. So let's get those on. So these ones just come with a bog standard brake shoe or brake pad. I'm going to leave those on. I'm not going to upgrade them at the moment. Don't see that there's a need to, but yeah, Shimano parts. Just a bit of grease on these bosses. Okay, that's that one on. So I'm using the longer bolts for these. It's nice and loose for those because obviously we're not going to know the correct position of that until we get the tyres on the wheels. So much as the front brakes really, I've put the rear brakes on now. I've just loosely kind of put these brake pads in a rough position because obviously when the wheel goes on I'm going to have to adjust them to sort of get in line with the rim for the brakes, etc. These were marked up actually on the box as F, which I take as front, and I'm not sure what the difference would be other than the shape of the noodle, but fortunately I've got some spare noodles so I can play around with those, but I can't see that there'll be an actual different size. But anyway, so they're on. Let's say the front are on. Let's start with the cables. Right then, before I put the cables on, I'm going to put this rear derailleur on, just get that in place. So I'm still waiting for the wheels, but I'll get the derailleur on and we can set it up when the wheels arrive. So this is the M6000 GS, which goes up to a 42T. The cassette that I've got's a 40. So a couple of cogs to spare on that one, so let's get that one put on. So it's like a bit of a panic moment there when I was putting this on, that this hanger was loose, it was moving around, but it's just these three screw heads that weren't quite tightened up. So they're all on now. So we're just waiting for the wheels. Let's put some cables on. So I'm using these yellow Jagwire cables for gears and brakes, and what I might do is I might use yellow at the front, possibly black at the back. We'll see how that looks, just mix it up a bit. What I'm going to do in the first instance is just work out my cable routing, and I think that the rear shifter goes into that connector there. So I'm just going to measure this out, cut it, and then use this pick device just to open up the hole in the plastic liner in there. It makes it pretty straightforward to do. So I'll come back in a second when I've measured this out. So I've got the length that I want, which is roughly there. I'm going to use my cutters. These are Bursman cutters, so not mega expensive. Snip straight through. Keep the long end. And then using this pick tool, basically just open out the plastic. If you can see that in there. Just open out the plastic in there. That way, when you're pushing your cable through, sometimes if it's too chewed up and you're trying to force the cable through, it frays the end. So I'm going to try these silver ends on it. Where's my other one? There it is. I'm going to try this one on the end there because it's going to have a cable, bare cable in between there. So we'll thread this through and see what this is like. It's a steady way because, like I say, you don't want to fray the cable because that's just a major pain. Yeah, that fits nice. Yep, so that's in there. And just make sure as well, this tensioner, I just have it so it's level with the outside, so you can go back a bit if you want. So when you do actually do the tension, if you need to back it off a bit, it's quite easy to do. Right, that's in there. Just make sure you can turn. Yep, you can turn there. There's enough room. It's not too long at the front. Happy days. Right, so the next section is going to be from here to here. So this middle section, it just needs to go from there to there. So I'll do it nice and straight. Obviously when the suspension compacts, it's going to fold up there. So it doesn't need to be extended any more than that. I'll put a slight bow in it. So if I cut it, I think there, where my hands are, and I think that should be all right. And then we've just got the end piece to do to the derailleur. So I'll cut it there. End piece on that one. Just carefully put that through. So we just thread that through. Nice and steady. Pop that in there. Pop that in there. Excellent. Right, the last piece then is going to be for the rear derailleur. So we'll just shift position and then come back for that. So the last piece then is going to be from here and into the derailleur, which is going to be through, I don't know if you can see that on there, but through this top one here. And then these new derailleurs actually are quite good because what you do find is once it's all tensioned up, this doesn't actually move that much, so you don't need too much of a curve. There we go. Let's get the pick. Actually, I can see looking at that, that's made a mess of that. If you can see that there, how the metal's twisted. I'm not sure that's going to be worth using. I might just cut another piece, because if I chop some bits off that, actually I've got a little bit of room, so I'll try and cut it again, see if it took a bit off there. That's a better piece, yeah. Yep, see that hole in there? Hole on that end, right. That's in. You can see that there. So you can see obviously where the cable comes through. That's going to go onto there. Once I've got the wheel, there's no point in tensioning that up now. Cable comes along here. I'm just going to check that. I'm going to tighten that up to make sure it's not rubbing on there. It is just clearing, but I think what I'll do is I'll find one of those rubber donuts and stick that on there, and it'll just stop it from, you know, any potential for catching. I don't think it will catch, to be honest, under tension, but you never know. Yep, so if you can just see that, I managed to find a rubber donut, so I'm just going to put it on there, and it'll stop it from catching. Like I say, it shouldn't do anyway, but once it's under tension, I think that'll be fine. Right, so I'm going to mount the front brake cable. So I'm just going to line these grooves in here, so get the cable through. I always found these a bit fiddly, but once they're in, there we go, through there. There we go. So they're in. I think this is actually a rear one, but I've got two cables that that are already unwrapped, so I'm going to use them rather than unpack a new set. So because these are obviously mounted to the forks, mounted to the handlebars, which are mounted to the forks, you don't need to worry about leaving an extension for the cable. So what I'm going to do is put that in there. So this is going to come down. It needs to go across this side where the noodle's going to be. So I'm going to cut it, I think, about there. Don't want it too long because I think it'll look messy. I'm going to cut it about there. There we go. Just got to be careful when you're doing these as well, because sometimes these can catch and the cable comes out. You see that grease that comes out there? This obviously keeps all the crap out. There we go. So I think what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to use my Allen key, just loosely connect it up, trim the excess so I'm not tripping over it. Cutters. So I'll leave a bit extra. There we go. And that one's sort of done. Once I've got the wheel on, I'll just tension these up correctly. There's no point doing anything with it now because obviously we've not got the wheels. So we'll do the rear. That's going to involve a bit more cable cutting. So we'll spin the mount round so you can see the other side and then do that. There we go. Use my pick. I'll slide this one in. That's okay. Right, we've just repositioned a little bit. So it's going to go from here . Sorted. So those cables look pretty neat, I think. They're not too long. I have seen some bikes, the same models as where the cables are all bulging and dangling down and stuff. And because I'm looking at that now and thinking, I could actually just take a few millimetre off this, but we'll get the wheels on and see where we are with it. I think it's looking all right. It's getting to turn into a good looking bike. Just want the wheels to hurry up now, and then we've got a nice set of tyres coming for it as well. The classics, in my mind anyway, absolute classics of the 26-inch wheel. I love Panaracer Fire XC Pros, as you'll have seen on other bikes. If you can see there, the Kona Blast with the red, and then moving on to the Zaskar with the yellow. But got some absolute classics coming that I've ordered from Halfords of all places. So I'm going to get a set of Panaracer Dart and Smoke tyres, and these be quite big at the sort of mid-90s to I think mid-90s up to early 2000s at least. Anyway, these used to be quite difficult to get hold of, but that's what people used to use to sort of, you know, to get your bikes to look cool, and they had good grip as well. So yeah, so the next update should be the wheels have come and we're fitting the tyres. Good news, the wheels have arrived. The cassette fits, so that is a win so far compared to the last set. Seems been nice as well, so time to get the tyres on. And as I said, we're going to go for the Panaracer Smoke and Panaracer Dart on the front. Classic tyres. A lot of riders used to use these, and apparently they grip just as well as new tyres as well. So let's get them on. So you can see the tyres are on. Panaracer. This is the Smoke rear specific tyre, and this is just a closer look at the wheel set that I've got. So Dave Hind build Mavic F519s. So quite old, I think these. They're in pretty good condition. Spin well. Don't appear to be out of true. I'm going to test it in a short while. Just a close look at those treads. good for biting into the ground, good grip, 2.1 wide, 26-inch tyres. So the front wheel and tyre are now on. You can see the logo on there, the Dart logo. So front specific, as you can probably tell by the threads. And that probably, or almost definitely, was the easiest tyre I've ever put on the rim. We literally just pushed it on, really supple, easy to pull out as you're pumping it up, to get these, make sure these side walls are all lined up properly. Really easy to do, so let's get on with doing the brakes and gears. Right, so the brake cables are tightened, end caps are on, front's nice and tidy. This is looking like a nearly finished bike now, so I'm just going to get the chain on, get that to size, and then look at sorting the rear derailleur, and I think that'll be done. Moving on to the chain, I've got this gold Wipperman Connex chain. Just done the sizing using the largest cog to the front cog plus 2 links method. So I'm just going to connect it up, and then we're going to start looking at the gears. Right, the build seems complete. All the cables are cut, everything's tightened up. Time for a test ride. Right, so we're out on the test ride on the Marin XC-FRS, and it's riding really nice. There's a slight rattle with the chain. I think there's a very slight adjustment on that, but other than that, the setup on it is really good. The tyres are good, it's about 45 psi in there. I reset that travel gauge on there before I set off, and I've just done road stuff really, so that's not too bad. Not using all the travel. The Hussefelt bars and stem, comfortable. These levers just need lowering slightly, they're just a little bit too high, so I'm going to rotate them forward when I get back, but it's not detrimental to the ride at the moment. The rear suspension, that's how much travel I've used on the road so far, so I might need a bit of air pressure in that. I think it's about 210 in that at the moment. The brakes are fine. The shifting is really slick with this M6000 Dior rear derailleur, that's really nice. The Wipperman chain, just bling really in it. I only bought that because it was in the sale. I think it was about £25 or something, but I think it sets it off really nicely. The tyres, smoke on the back. I'm going to do some off-roads very slightly in a few minutes, and it's quite dry today, so we'll see what it's like with that. The saddle, that's the Kona Blast. That's not bad. It's not uncomfortable, but it's not overly comfortable either. It's kind of middling, but it kind of suits the age of the bike. The frame, as you can see in the daylight, there's some slight worming under the lacquer, but compared to some that I've seen of a similar age, I think it's quite a good example, to be fair. The rear swing arm, this actually was orange in its day, but it has faded. I don't know if you can see that just down near the derailleur attachment there. But I kind of like the yellow because it matches the grips and everything else. So far, I'm really enjoying it. Going to go up and round this test route again. It's quite local to where I live, so apologies if it's a bit boring seeing the same old thing. I have got another bike build ongoing at the moment, which is going to be the Specialized S-Works M4 full suspension. in red, and that's a really nice bike. I think it's a 2000 or a 1999, but that's nearly complete. So with that one, I'm going to take it over to a different route that's got more dedicated off-road, because I think it's worth it, and I fancy a change as well, as I'm sure you do too. So let's get back to the ride and enjoy the Marin XC-FRS. So far on this ride, this bike, it feels quite nimble actually, quite lightweight for what it is. I was always under the impression that full suspension bikes were quite heavy, which they are compared to hardtails, but this doesn't feel that bad at all. I really could do with getting a pair of scales and weighing each of these bikes to give you all an appreciation of what weight they are. I'm not a weight weenie, anything like that, but yeah, so far it feels pretty good. Right, let's do this single track section now, do it a couple of times and just see what it's like.
Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Backbeat, the word is on the street that the fire in your heart is out. I'm sure you've heard it all before, but you never really had a doubt. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. And all the roads we have to walk are winding, and all the lights that lead us there are blinding. There are many things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know how. Because maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me. And after all, you're my Today was gonna be the day, but they'll never throw it back to you. By now you should have somehow realized what you're not to do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. And all the roads that lead you there were winding, and all the lights that light the way are blinding. There are many things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know how. I said maybe you're gonna be the
Right, that section was pretty good, and travel wise I've still got about 12 mil give or take, so it's not bottoming out yet.
I said maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me. And after all, you're my wonderwall. I said maybe
Right, it's the end of the ride, or just about anyway. So ride appraisal, give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. I think it rides really nice. There's a couple of tweaks to do with the gears, I think, but very, very minor. Seating wise, it's comfortable. The fit feels right for me as well. This is a 19-inch frame. So yeah, recommended. Marin XC-FRS. Quite cheap on eBay, between £50 and £100 for the frame and shock. So treat yourselves, get one, upload some pictures, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.